Hello and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, September 18, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Granger addresses nation on action following expiration of ultimatum issued to Ramatar. Government recalls big buses after private bus owners agree to return to normal fare structure. The AFC accuses PPP of trying to buy out opposition legislators ahead of no confidence vote debate. Government slams Hamilton Green's bullyism and thuggery tactics at City Council. Vendor charge remanded for fraudulent conversion. Works on Hope Canal 85% complete. And Neelan Massey Group donates to 23 charities. Now for the news in detail. We begin by telling you that Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce Irfan Ali, while meeting with members of the minibus associations today, said the public sector was forced to get involved in the transportation sector because of the cries of commuters. More from Alexis Rodney.
The meeting held between the minister and the Minibus Association was intended to arrive at a solution for both commuters and minibus operators. Since the introduction of the free service, operators have registered their concerns over the move, citing the infringement on their livelihood. Minister Ali, however, said that steps have to be taken to ensure that both passengers and operators are at the same level.
We have consistently issued notices that outline clearly those fares were not legal and should not be adhered to by commuters.
Ali said that his ministry has over the last couple of months received hundreds of letters of complaints against the operators of minibuses, especially in the Route 31, 32 and Georgetown zones, about mass financial exploitation. He said it has come to a point where government can do nothing else but intervene.
The complaint then shifted not only from one of the indiscriminate increase in fares without consultation, but also one in which operators are refusing to take short drop passengers, especially after 6. In some cases, passengers complain that unless they are willing to pay the fare to Parika, the buses would leave them in the park.
Government has intervened through the Ministry of Public Works and Transportation, when on Monday 10 fleet of 44-seater buses were made available for commuters plying the east and west coast and east and west bank of the Marara. Minister of Transportation Robson Ben had said that government was becoming weary of the cries of commuters plying these areas. For the evening news, Alexis Rodney.
Meanwhile, government has decided to recall its big buses from the roadways after having fruitful discussions with key stakeholders and private minibus operators earlier today. The private minibus operators have agreed in return to reverting to the normal fare structures until an official agreement is reached and a new fare structure is published. This agreement is effective immediately after discussions were held with a team from the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce led by Minister Irfan Ali. The United Minibus Union and their affiliate member, the Zone 32 Minibus Association, that's the Georgetown to Parika, were part of the discussions. Meanwhile, Vice Chairman of the Alliance for Change, Moses Nagamutu, today said he sees the party's no-confidence motion against the government as a political bulldozer which will ultimately pave the way for the long-overdue local government elections. Here again is Alexis Rodney.
Nagamutu, speaking earlier today at the party's press conference, said unless the party bulldozes government, there will be no local government elections anytime soon. The party's vice chairman was at the time responding to questions on its preference between local government elections and the general elections, which will come about if the no-confidence motion is passed in the National Assembly. Nagamutu said that the concern now is over the passage of that motion.
I believe that the way to go politically is to ensure that the no-confidence motion is passed so that local government elections can be held under a new administration.
He said that there is no guarantee that the current government will call local government elections anytime soon. He said the party, through its General Secretary Clement Rohi, has already begun seeking to stymie this process by finding meaningless faults with the work being carried out by the electoral body.
They're trying to discredit the Elections Commission and the voters list so that they can have a new house-to-house registration that would take several months to complete. So this prevarication and this attempt to frustrate the democratic process needed a certain political response that was decisive. And the decisive political response is, get out of here.
Member of Parliament Cathy Hughes endorsed his statements, noting that the party has always been calling for local government elections. According to her, years have passed since the last general election and little progress has been made in this regard.
That is why the Alliance for Change was forced to come to the very difficult realization that for Guyana to move forward, it made more sense for us to put in a no-confidence motion, have an election, have a new government, and then we can realize some of the development and some of the progress that we have been speaking about that has not materialized since 2011. Whether we like it or not, we have tried on several different occasions to engage the current government and to put forward the view that all citizens of Guyana have an important role to play in deciding how we move this country forward.
For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
With the new school year well underway, the Ministry of Education is now reporting that an additional 2,681 children are benefiting from the ministry's new nursery age initiative, which was announced earlier this year and is now being implemented. The ministry said in a statement that figures presently coming into the ministry from across the 10 regions and Georgetown suggest an average of 23% increase in the enrollment of nursery children as a result of the new age requirement. With the increased number of children attending nursery school across Guyana, the Education Ministry made arrangements for additional furniture to be procured as well as new books and toys. Additional nursery teachers have also been recruited and strategically placed to absorb the increased intake of nursery school children within the sector. If you have a news tip or news story you'd like our team to follow, message or WhatsApp us on telephone numbers 680-9630, 600-3117 or 617-2867. You can also call the office on telephone numbers 231-0382, 226-2102, 223-7230 or 223-7231. One news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. In this report, we'll hear now that the Hope Canal Conservancy project is approximately 85% complete.
Closing in on a delayed period of 2 years, the Hope Canal Conservancy project is in its last stage of construction, with approximately 85% of the work completed. This is according to Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy in an interview with this newscast. Dr. Ramsamy disclosed that the head regulator of the sluice has been completed, allowing water to flow from the conservancy to the channel. The bridge and channel are also completed, the minister said.
This is releasing water from the conservancy into the channel. The channel itself is completed. Yes, you will see pieces that are still there, but that was being left for until the operationalization, because we are allowing people to use it to cross from one side to the next. But at some point we'll have to open it, which means they'll have to come all the way to the highway to go back into the other side.
Additionally, Dr. Ramsamy pointed out that the only problem they are facing right now is the slow pace in the completion of the outer sluice. He noted that they had some problems with the contractor, Courtney Ben Contracting Services. Nevertheless, the Agriculture Minister added that his ministry is working along with the contractor to speed up the process of the work.
The quality of work being done by the contractor is no issue, so I don't want people to think we've had difficulty with that. He has been slow, and we have been working with him. The Ministry of Agriculture or the NDIA have not taken over Mr. Courtney Ben's contract. He still has that contract and have to complete the work. But recognizing some of his difficulties, the ministry is working in partnership with him. We are making sure that supplies and so when needed are available for him to complete the work.
The construction of the four-component project, which values some $3.6 billion, began in 2011. This project will see considerable reduction in flooding along the country's low-lying coastal areas that are time and again threatened by the rising sea levels. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-chan.
In the courts now, 25-year-old Sherwin Benjamin was today remanded after being charged for fraudulent conversion. Benjamin of Lot 100 Better Hope on the east coast of Demerara appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Magistrate Judy Latchman. On May 2 at High Street, he was allegedly entrusted by Randolph Glasgow with a cool-down card valued $20,000 to retain and return the set card, which contained beverages costing $50,500 when he fraudulently converted it to his own use. The total value of the card plus the items was $70,550. They belong to a private owner, Princess Peters. The unrepresented man pleaded not guilty to the charge after the Administration of Justice Act was applied. Police prosecutor Vishnu Hunt objected to bail by telling the court that the address in which the defendant gave was incorrect and that he lives on the road and had 3 previous convictions that were larceny charges. The Alliance for Change says while it is of the view that the contract offered to Surrendra Engineering Company Limited should have been withdrawn a long time ago, it is willing to assist government in retrieving the $4.5 billion owed to the government. Alexis Rodney reports.
The AFC's leader, Kamaraj Ramtatan, reiterated that the party was never against the specialty hospital in Guyana, but was concerned about the award of the contract.
That company knows nothing about specialty hospital, and it was a fraud being committed whereby almost $19 million were going to go down the drain. Fortunately, it would appear that just $4.5 million have gone down.
He said the party is in a position to help government if it so desires to recover the US $4.5 billion still owed to it by the Surrendra company.
I have been speaking to some political figures in India who have indicated that there are 2 sources that we can go to. One is the Chamber of Industry and Commerce in India called CII, and another, a parallel organization called the Federal Indian Commercial Institute, FICCI. It's all on the website, where you can go and make complaints against big companies that have done damage to you financially. And these bodies can, in a way, help to restore back you into your status quo. So if it had taken away $4.5 million out of the Guyanese government, it can help in that process, and we can utilize these processes to ensure that we get back from Surrendra.
Last week, government announced that it had terminated the firm's contract to build the US $18 million specialty hospital, noting that since last June, it had been engaging the company on a number of issues regarding allegations of fraud and financial irregularities. Presidential Secretariat Dr. Roger Luncheon noted that the decision to pull the contract, estimated at US $150 million, was taken after intense investigations both in Guyana and overseas. He added that the termination of the contract derived from poor accountability and delays. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
The Neil and Massey Group of Company in Guyana continued its social impact program by making financial and stationery donations to 23 charitable organizations across the country during a simple ceremony at its staff facility located at Rijnveld. Dio Posada, the Chief Executive Officer speaking at the ceremony, said the group takes its social responsibilities seriously. Posada said the Associated Industries Limited ANLIM staff recently conducted an enhancement exercise at the East Bank Special Needs School, the rehabilitation of the fencing at the Eccles Primary School by employees of the Demerara Oxygen Company, that's Docol, and the cleaning of the Manatee Pond in the Botanical Garden by employees of the Neil and Massey Security Service and TDI. More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The Ghana Telephone and Telegraph Company, GT&T, says that the rollout of its service is severely affected by the non-approval of its 3G and 4G licenses. More in this report.
GT&T's Chief Executive Officer Radhakrishna Sharma says that government's refusal to assent to an application for 3G and 4G bandwidth is retarding its ability to deliver an improved service to its customer base. Sharma told this newscast that while other Caribbean countries have moved ahead and now have better services, Guyana is lagging far behind. He pointed out that the unavailability of license also affects the rollout of long-term evolution, known as LTE. He explained that should government grant the license tomorrow, GT&T would not need a replicate infrastructure to make the service available to its customer. He contended that GT&T already has tower infrastructure throughout Guyana that can fast-track implementation of the service. GT&T would have applied for the license some 4 years ago. Head of the National Frequency Management Unit, Valmiki Singh, has said that all questions with respect to the application should be forwarded to Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Lunchan. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
In this report, you'll hear that the opposition leader David Granger addressed the nation today on his line of action following the ultimatum he issued to President Donald Ramotar on local government elections.
Subsequent to the president ignoring an ultimatum to set a date for local government elections, opposition leader David Granger today listed what actions will be taken to emphasize the importance of the local government polls. Granger maintained that any and all actions taken would be legitimate and peaceful.
We have called on the President to simply set the date on which local government elections will be held. He has not done so. We have therefore embarked on a campaign of lawful, orderly, peaceful public protests, including picketing, rallies and vigils, to raise public awareness of the threat to our collective rights. We call on all Guyanese to join the campaign to challenge the President to hold local government elections without undue delay.
He also reminded that the call for local government elections is one that has been echoed by several sections of society. These include foreign dignitaries, private sector bodies, and non-governmental organizations.
We, the people, must now take any and all lawful actions to defend our local democracy, to uphold the Constitution, and to secure our civil rights. We must combine the efforts, energies, and enterprise of the entire nation in our campaign to restore local democracy to Guyana. The President must be reminded that 6 months ago, on 6th of March 2014, several foreign missions and local non-governmental organizations issued a joint statement expressing their collective hope that local government elections would be held by 1st of August 2014.
He said that the president setting a date for local government polls should not be seen as an option. He said too that the delay in local government polls has stagnated local development.
We the people must work together through renewed municipal and neighborhood councils to make our homes, villages and communities safe, sanitary, pleasant and prosperous for ourselves, our children and the old folk. Our quality of life will not improve unless we stand up against the further decline and degradation of our communities and stand up for our democratic institutions and values. The demand for local government elections is a national necessity, a common cause. It is not a partisan project.
Granger's message today contained nothing new and represented the contents of the same letter sent to the president last Tuesday. In essence, the message detailed nothing about the forms of action that will be taken in any strategic or meaningful manner. Granger's inaction on the call to detail his course of action continued with thousands of his own supporters, civil society, other political parties, and the media remaining in the dark.
In an effort to confound the passage of the no-confidence motion in the National Assembly, we hear now that the People's Progressive Party Civic is being accused of offering millions of dollars to opposition members of Parliament. Here's Alexis Rodney with the details.
Alliance for Change leader Kemraj Ramjatan today said that the party has been reliably informed that a PPP government against whom the no-confidence motion has been filed has plans to buy off at least 3 parliamentarians at $30 million each to vote against the motion when it comes up for debate next month.
That's the only way. And so all that they're saying that they have an option, that's the only option they have.
When asked to disclose if the parliamentarians approached or members of his party, Ramjatan refused. He also declined to offer any sort of tangible evidence that will support his allegations against the PPP. The AFC leader was also hard-pressed to explain how he came to know the information divulged to the media today. Despite this, he stated that he hopes that good judgment prevail on the part of all opposition parliamentarians.
I believe that and I act on the presumption that all opposition parliamentarians want the PPP out of government at this stage and want another early elections, an elections that is early. And I believe that principled position can hold true, and they will have to act in accordance with their consciences and a political morality that is going to be in keeping with, the high standards of parliamentarians.
But the Office of the President fired back at the AFC today in a strongly worded statement as it rejected the accusations made by the minority party. The government said that, and I quote, "This startling disclosure follows a long line of reckless and baseless utterances emanating from the AFC." As it rejected the AFC's assertions, the Office of the President called on Ramjatan to disclose publicly the names of the parliamentarians and to report the matter to the police so that a criminal investigation could commence, since any act of this nature borders on criminality. The release said, and I quote, "The Office of the President holds firmly to the view that the AFC has become desperate and is obviously prepared to adopt a strange posture and make wild and irresponsible statements in their quest to exaggerate their importance and standing." For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, has condemned the behavior of the city mayor and his attitude towards the progress of the council's work. Let's find out more in this report.
As the woes over at the Mayor and City Council continue, with the latest episode being held on Wednesday, Head of the Presidential Secretariat Dr. Roger Luncheon condemned the behavior of the City Mayor, Hamilton Green. At the post-cabinet briefing on Wednesday, the HPS pointed out the fact that there is division at City Hall. It is difficult for the Council to continue its work.
I think it would be fair to see that the mayor is on one side and is doing his damnedest to do the worst possible that could be done if things do not evolve according to the mayor's script. In essence, if I don't get my way, the mayor reasons, there will be no way.
The problems at the council began with the appointment of now acting town clerk Carol Suba by former local government minister Ganga Prasad. There has since been several court actions and constant tit-for-tat between Green, Suba, and even Deputy Mayor of Georgetown Patricia Chase Green. One of the projects Dr. Luncheon is referring to is the Clean Up Guyana campaign, which has the Clean Up Georgetown aspect. He noted that with the bickering aside, there are still persons at the City Hall who are focused and driven to get work done.
There are others who are of a saner disposition in the City Hall who are working with the administration and with whom the objectives of the Clean Up Georgetown resonate. And it was with those that Minister Whitaker and his team from the Solid Waste Administration of the municipality, those in the city engineering divisions, it is with those that Minister Whitaker functions and is getting whatever support that the City Council offers for the implementation of the Clean Up Georgetown campaign.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-chan.
In continuing its observance activities for the International Day of Preventing Ozone Layer Depletion, the Ministry of Agriculture hosted a symposium to educate and bring awareness on the issue. The details on this report.
The symposium was hosted by the Hydrometeorological Department of the Ministry of Agriculture. Its aim is to provide education on the Montreal Protocol and the role Guyana plays in fighting ozone layer depletion through their protocol. United Nations Representative Khadija Musa read that the United Nations Secretary General address on International Day for the Prevention of the Ozone Layer, which indicated that the protocol has made great strides in preventing the ozone layer.
Without the protocol and associated agreements, atmospheric levels of the ozone depleting substances could have increased tenfold by 2050. Concentrated action has prevented millions of cases of skin cancer as well. The protocol has also significantly contributed to the fight against climate change, as many ozone-depleting substances are powerful greenhouse gases.
CARICOM Representative Enrique Singh remarked that many are under the conception that this issue falls under environment departments, but that's not the case. Everyone has a role to play in avoiding the ozone depletion.
The scope of the MEA is national as opposed to being strictly within the sphere of environmental management. This is inherently the case with the Montreal Protocol. Control of ozone-depleting substances, as evidenced by the head table, and protection of the ozone layer cannot be viewed as solely an environmental issue. It is, in fact, a trade issue, an agricultural issue, a fisheries issue, a health issue, and the list can go on.
This was repeated by Minister Ramsamy, who was quite adamant that everyone must know of this issue and act on it, countries large and small.
In that regards, I want to immediately say that whilst we have reasons to celebrate, we must ensure that the future has more concerted actions to respond to the environmental threat that we face. Countries small and large must do their part. There is no country in the world that cannot contribute to the preservation of the ozone layer and to the creation of a more sustainable environment.
Today was the third and final day of the activity that the Hydrometeorological Department has planned in recognition of the issue. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
Your regional, international and bridge reports are next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. In the region, Trinidadian environmental activist Dr. Wayne Kublal Singh on Wednesday began an indefinite hunger strike outside the building housing the office of the Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Besessar to protest the construction of a segment of a multi-million-dollar highway south of Port of Spain. Kublal Singh, flanked by members of his highway reroute movement and relatives, said he would continue the hunger strike until he meets with the Prime Minister to discuss stopping the Debbie to Mondisser section of the Point Fortin highway. Internationally, India and China have signed 12 agreements in Delhi, one of which will see China investing $20 billion in India's infrastructure over 5 years. At a news conference with Chinese President Xi Jinping, India's PM Narendra Modi said peace on the border was important for progress. Talks came as India accused China of fresh territorial incursions in Ladakh. China is one of India's top trading partners, but they vie for regional influence and dispute their border. Modi and Xi made remarks at the end of their talks in Delhi on Thursday. In case you just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 14 hours 30 on Friday, September 19 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed from 13 hours 45 on Friday, September 19 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by Marcorp. This is the Evening News.
presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are bribery.
Welcome back now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Sports Medicine Workshop opens at Resource Center. Annual 5-state cycling meet set for October 15 to 19. Director of Sport concerned about state of football, and Kings 11 Punjab start with victory in Champions League. Of course, this broadcast comes to the kind compliments of Makwa.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are bribery.
Welcome back. Now for the details. We start off by telling you that the Director of Sport, Neil Kumar, says he is seriously concerned by what is transpiring in local football, which has endured more than 18 months of turmoil at the administrative level. He made a comment on Thursday while addressing media operatives. Since the election of Christopher Matthias to the helm of the Guyana Football Federation in April 2013, there has been an administrative battle as a group of officials has been clamoring for his removal due to what they have termed his incompetence to run local football. Allegations of mistrust, marginalization and mishandling of funds from both sides have stalled the development of football, while the filing of a no-confidence motion against the Matthias administration by the disgruntled group has done little to improve the already volatile football climate. This has led to little or no football being played, with a woefully underprepared national team attending the recently held Caribbean Cup qualifiers in St. Kitts. Since then, several former Golden Jaguars players have gone public with their criticisms of the Matthias administration, with the latest being former captain Christopher Nurse, Charles Lily Pollard and Coyote McKinnon.
I'm seriously concerned with what is happening in football. We imagine we as a government, we set up a perfect football field at Lenora. It's ready to play, it's ready for everything. And you have all this infighting in football. At this stage, I just don't know what more can we do. But if the journalists feel that we should have a seminar, if they feel we should have a rap session to discuss on how we could aid football, I am prepared for it. But I'm seriously concerned with what's happening in football in this country. If people want to watch, Horse Racing Association had some problems. The big men, them, Mr. Habibola, Justice Kennard, and Mr. Alikak, we came, I remember last year, and we sorted out their problem. If the people need help, we are prepared to help. But government should not intervene. It's not, because look how we get problems. We try our best, and then people cuss we up. So we don't want nobody cuss up. If people think we could work together, we are prepared to work to solve the problem in football. But then everybody needs to understand that we have to make compromise, and we have to have trust in each other.
Two attempts to have the annual Ordinary Congress also ended in a walkout by the disgruntled group, and it may now require the intervention of world governing body FIFA to lift Guyana out of the power struggle that has infested, tainted and literally killed local football. Following a meeting of the various stakeholders earlier this week, the dates for the 8th annual Right for Life 5-state cycling event have been finalized. More in this report. The grueling 5-stage race, which covers 273.6 miles of the country's roadway, is a collaborative effort of the Ministries of Health and Sport and the Guyana Cycling Federation. This year, the country's marquee cycling event will be held from October 16 to 19, spanning all three counties. After travelling to the ancient county of Berbice on October 15, the opening stage will be held the following day from Corriverton to New Amsterdam from 7 hours 30, while Stage 2 will be on the same day from Rosignol to Georgetown from 14 hours. Stage 3 will take place on October 17 from Wales to Parika from 9 hours, while the penultimate stage will be contested from 7 hours 30 on October 18 from Supernam to Suddy. The fifth and final stage will commence in Linden at 8 hours 30 and finish in Georgetown on Sunday, October 19. Team Coco's Reynard Jeffrey is the defending champion of the open category, having won last year's event in a time of 10 hours 5 minutes 33 seconds. Hamza Eastman was the leading junior rider, while Raymond Newton was the top veteran. While riders will seek to outdo each other and earn individual and team glory, the event is being held to increase awareness and knowledge about HIV/AIDS among participants and the general public, and increasing HIV/AIDS activism and volunteerism among the participants, and inspiring them to become ambassador in the fight against the disease. Over 2,000 coaches attached to the various national associations are currently participating in the first ever sports medicine workshop at the National Sports Resource Center on Wolford Avenue. We attended the opening ceremony this morning, and here's that report. The course, which will last for 3 days, has attracted scores of coaches from the national associations. The workshop, which was declared open on Thursday morning by Director of Sport Neil Kumar, is a collaborative effort of the National Sports Commission, the Health Ministry and the Guyana Physiotherapy Association. Kumar said the seminar is geared at creating a closer link between physiotherapists and coaches for the benefit of athletes.
It's a 3-day seminar to bring coaches awareness to the importance of the physical fitness, how to prevent injuries, how to work with athletes when they are injured. And this will now become an annual activity. We will have it in the 3 counties, we will have it in the regions, and we'll try to link the physiotherapists to work closer, not only with the coaches, but with national sports associations. We need to share our synergies together and work together.
He noted that the seminar will become an annual feature as the various stakeholders work to help athletes deal with injuries and how to overcome them in the shortest possible time.
It's important that our athletes know how to prevent injuries and, as I said, know how to treat injuries. And you have to be properly trained for this. This is special training that these people receive. And I really appreciate this program, and I look forward to working with the Guyana Physiotherapists Association to continue assisting the development of athletes.
Kumar also highlighted that the course is the start of a bigger plan of action the various stakeholders have in helping coaches to better manage athletes.
Coming out of this program, I would like to see physiotherapists attached closer to National Sports Association and to the sports team as they work and practice and train around the country.
Several resource personnel from the Guyana Physiotherapy Association, local hospitals, the Health Ministry and CARICOM have been entrusted with conducting the seminar. And finally in sport, IPL side Kings 11 Punjab started their campaign in the Champions League T20 with an exciting win over the Hobart Hurricanes in Mohali. Some useful contributions took the Hurricanes to 144 for 6 before Kings 11 Punjab stumbled to 77 for 5 by the 11th over to leave the match wide open. However, skipper George Bailey and Tesaro Pereira smashed an unbeaten 69 in 6.5 overs to seal the win for Kings 11. Bailey ended on 34 and Pereira 35. The Champions League will continue tomorrow with the Cape Cobras against the Northern Districts from 10 hours 30 Guyana time. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by Mark Hopper. That's a wrap as well on the evening news for today, Thursday, September 18, 2014. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.